Good evening. Well, actually, at this point, it's good morning. It's about 1:26 a.m. here in El Paso, Texas. I wanted to take this opportunity to share some information with my fellow students that for some of you, what I'm getting ready to share with you may actually change your life. I'm going to discuss two very powerful and important subjects in today's society. One of those, or the first one, is glass ceilings. The second one is white privilege. Let's start with glass ceilings. There are actually two types of glass ceiling: internal and external. The most insidious glass ceiling is the internal glass ceiling. And that is when you, based on some of the things that have happened to you in your life, based on some of the ways you've been treated, based on some of the things that have been told to you, it's when you internalize sexism and racism. And now you yourself believe that you are less than because you have been treated less than, because you have been told that you are less than. Now let me explain to you exactly how that happens. It's the same way that they train elephants in the circus. When an elephant is a baby, they take a rope and they tie it around the elephant's leg, and then they tie that rope to a tree. That baby elephant spends all day pulling on that rope trying to get away until finally his will is broken. And that elephant believes for the rest of its life that if something is tied around my leg, I'm trapped. I cannot go forward. Even though as time goes on, that elephant grows big and strong enough that if they tied its leg to the main post of the circus tent, it is strong enough to pull the entire tent down. But because of what it has experienced in the past, that elephant believes that it is trapped. That's very important to understand. Many of you as minorities, many of you as women have dealt with sexism and racism. And because of that, you have been taught to believe that as long as sexism and racism exist, you are not going to be able to be successful. I am here to tell you that is a lie. I'm living proof. I'm living proof. Trust me. Now let's look at external. Internal, you have internalized what has happened in your environment, and you yourself are holding you back. Because remember, when that elephant gets to be a certain size, it can actually pull down the entire tent. but it doesn't believe it can. So because it doesn't believe it can, it is actually trapped by its own thoughts. Then there's the external glass ceiling. That's when you have people in key positions that refuse to promote minorities and women. But I have a solution for that. In fact, I have two. Solution number one: you are not a tree. I'm going to ask everybody to look down at their feet and tell me, do you see any roots? If you see roots, this does not apply to you. If there are no roots, then what's that mean? That means that you can leave and go to a company that will respect the talents that you're bringing to the table and will promote you. Or, better than that, if you're actually as good as you think you are, leave and build your own organization. Go out. It costs you about $250. I've done it several times. Go out, send your paperwork in to the Secretary of State, incorporate your own business, start off at the top, and build an organization under you. So, whatever excuse that you had for not being successful, I just shot them out of the water. Number one, you're not a tree. If one organization does not respect your talents, go to the next. If your talents really are what you think they are, then believe you me, somebody else out there is in the market for them. I run 3 corporations. And let me tell you what all corporate owners know. Your best employee is working for somebody else. So trust me, if you got skills and you can execute, we looking for you. So I've given you the solution to what were we talking about? It's bad when you get old. So I've given you the solution to the glass ceiling. Either A, leave the building, build your own, or leave the building and go to another building or another organization where they respect what you bring in to the table. And definitely, nobody's responsible for your belief systems but you. You cannot allow anyone to make you believe that you are inferior. Because even when you have the skills to lead, you won't lead. Okay, now let's deal with this thing called white privilege. I'm constantly hearing about white privilege, blah, 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 blah. Okay. First of all, as a business owner, let me share with you exactly what privilege is. Privilege means I built this. Let me repeat. Privilege means I built this. Not you, not the government, nobody else. I built this. So as a black man, the corporations I run, I have black privilege. I hire who I want to hire. I promote who I want to promote. And I fire who I choose to fire. Now, because I'm not racist and because I'm not sexist, I do have women and whites in leadership positions in my corporation along with minorities. For me, the color that I respect is green. The bottom line. If you can execute, I don't care what your sexual orientation is, I don't care what your race, color, creed, sports team affiliation, I could care less. As long as you can come to work, execute, handle your business in an ethical way and not cause trouble while you're here. You will have a job working at one of my corporations. Trust and believe that. Privilege is not about color. Let me repeat. Privilege has nothing to do with color. Privilege has to do with I own this. Privilege has to do with ownership. For an example, there was a group of blacks that were upset about the fact that they had a statue of Nathan Bedford Forrest in a state park. Well, more like a city park. They were upset about this. And they kept begging the state to take it down, take it down, take it down. State refused to do it. City refused to do it. So you know what they did? They got together, came up with the money, they bought the park. Once they bought the park, they went and took the statue down off of their land. That's called privilege. This belongs to me, so I decide what statues or whatever goes on this land. So instead of being angry about white privilege, now I'm talking to minorities and I'm talking to women. Instead of being angry about male privilege, you need to own something. You need to build something yourself. And then you don't have to worry about nobody else's privilege because you can exercise your own privilege. And life is just really that simple. Don't worry about trying to argue with somebody else about how they run their corporation. Build your own. If you're a female, now you got female privilege. If you're a minority, now you got minority privilege. It's really that simple. And let me tell you something about people who have privilege. As a person who has privilege, people who have privilege, they put in the work, the toil, the struggle. See, nobody knows unless you've done it yourself. Nobody knows what it takes to build an organization from the ground up. Why do you think I'm up at 1 o'clock in the morning? Because I'm used to it. Nobody has no idea what it takes to build a business. The sacrifice, the blood, the sweat, the tears. Nobody. It's the people who've actually done it. And when you actually make the sacrifice to do it, you are not going to let anybody else come in and tell you how to run your business. I'm going to be honest with you. If I were a racist and I built a business, then guess what? You would either have to live with it, 1, go to another business and work for them, 2, or build your own, 3. Why? Because I built this. Same thing if I was a sexist. I would tell you, if you don't like it, Leave. Why? Because I built this. And it's hellishly hard to build a business. In fact, 1 in 10 businesses fail within the first 5 years or less. 1 in 10. So this ain't nothing out here but the big dogs. So big dogs are not going to let you sit up on the porch and tell them how to run around in the yard. If you don't like what the big dogs are doing in the yard, you know what you need to do? You need to get off the porch, come out in the yard, and do what you do. I thank you for taking the opportunity to listen to what I had to share with you today. And hopefully this insight will free some of you all from feeling like you're trapped by white privilege, you're trapped by male privilege, or you're trapped by a glass ceiling. I just gave you the answer to the test. God bless you. Good night.